Thank you for choosing In My Shoes. I'm Hilda Kathy Broady, your host. Today we have a different type of program in that we've been noticing that quite a few people in our community are not feeling well. And sometimes it's like itty bitty little things, and sometimes it's major, but we're going to look at something that's totally different. I have a sister who lives in Florida, my older sister, the one I'm always talking about that taught me how to read. Well, she called me, she said, Hilda, you need to change your water to change your life. And I'm going, that sounds really. But no, she said, no, I met these people and they gave me some water and I'm feeling so much better. And I'm saying, the water, yeah, right, prove it. And she says, no, you have to listen to them. You got to look at this video and you can go to seminars and they're not trying to sell you anything. They're just trying to make us feel better. So I said, okay, we'll give it a shot. So our guest today is going to be one of the people who was also introduced to this water by someone at a function, and they did the research and they found that it was helpful. And I'm just trying to share with our audience as much information as possible. But before that, I want to remind you that this show, In My Shoes, is we're trying to take a different approach to servicing the world. We have to do something to make our communities feel better than I'm trying with this show. I'd like to take this opportunity also to thank the staff at BronxNet for their untiring dedication and devotion, help with this show. And we are going to continue to bring you the information that I find. I'm going to share because I believe in sharing everything that I have. And we're going to see if we can help everybody to feel better so that they can watch my show. No, so that they can feel better. And if you watch my show, that's just a bonus for me. But I would rather prefer for our people to just feel better. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Thad Williams. He's in Ocala, Florida. And let's hear what he has to say about changing our water to change our lives. Thad Williams, my sister has been telling me interesting things about changing my water, and I'm telling her that she's crazy. And she said, no, you got to talk to this man because you're going to be so amazed at the things that he has to say to you. And I still said she's crazy. We're talking about water. So you tell me something about water that's going to change my life.
Well, I first was introduced to this amazing water. I believe it's going on 2 years now. I met a young lady who's also a New Yorker in Tampa, Florida. I was there on a gospel fest, and she, while we were just sitting around chatting, she handed me a bottle of water, and at the end of our setting, she asked me, did I notice anything different about the water? And I didn't notice much at the time because I wasn't thinking about it. But then she began to tell us a little bit more about the water. But when I left, she gave us a trial of it. And that's what we do. We give people a free trial of the water. And just to give the water enough time to do what it's actually supposed to do. But just briefly, I want to tell you about, I happened to be on a 21-day Daniel fast at the time. And so I was already not eating meats and dairies and sugars. And so I was already, feeling awesome at the time. So I was right in the middle of the fast. It was at the beginning of the year. Every year, I begin the new year off with a 21-day Daniel fast. And so when she gave us the water, my wife and I, we began to drink it, and we noticed that we began to feel so much more energetic. And we both had issues with our health. I had hypertension really bad, and so did she. I had acid reflux. she had allergies and such. And while on the water, we noticed that as we continued to drink the water, that I began to keep a monitor of my blood pressure, and I noticed that my blood pressure was getting better and better and better. And so, what I decided to do was, since my blood pressure was getting better, I decided to not, when my medication ran out. Now, I don't advise anybody to stop taking their medication because we give you the water with your medications as well. But as I noticed my blood pressure getting better and my acid reflux clearing up, I decided not to even re-up on my meds. And so as I continued to drink the water, I noticed that my blood pressure was perfect, began to be perfect without medication at all. And so that's how I got introduced to the water. And so my wife also has an awesome testimony where she had allergies, where she could not eat particular fruits because it would cause her tongue to swell and it would get itchy and and she would just feel nauseous. And one particular time, I'll give you a brief summary of her testimony. She was also allergic to celery, and so one time I made a taco, and I just to have the extra crunch, I chopped up some fresh celery and sprinkled it on there and gave it to her. Now, we don't eat celery every day. And so I forgot that she was allergic to the celery as well. I knew that she couldn't eat peaches and plums and apples and stuff like that, but I forgot about celery and I gave it to her. Now, this is after we've been on the water for some time. And when she ate it, she said, "Did you give me celery?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Did you? I'm allergic to it." And so she kind of panicked, but then she waited after a while and noticed that nothing happened. And she was like, "Wow, do you think it's because of the water that I didn't swell and itch and freak out?" I said, "Probably, I guess so."
Wow.
And so that's when she noticed that this water had been clearing us up. We hadn't noticed. It was just until she ate that, and she noticed that, wow, this is really something. And so today, both of us aren't on any medications today, and it's because of how we changed our water. We was able to change our lives.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yes,
That's amazing.
yes,
So what's in?
yes.
I shouldn't say what's in the water because there should be
Okay.
nothing in the water, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Okay.
There's nothing in the water. It's well, I'll tell you the properties that's in the water that is not in any other water that's in the stores or in bottled water or in any other ionized water. Uh, there are three properties. It's alkaline. It has antioxidants, and it's microclustered.
Excuse me.
Now, yeah,
Micro, micro.
micro microclustered water, and what microclustered water is, the molecules in the water are tiny. They're micro, meaning super tiny. They are able to penetrate the organs and your cells in your body, and is able to hydrate you like you're supposed to be, as opposed to any other water where the molecules are not microclustered. They're larger molecules, and they're not able to penetrate the places, the joints, and the places that they're supposed to, because they can't get in there. They're too big. The molecules are too big, so they can't penetrate. Therefore, they can't hydrate. And so this water is microclustered, and it's able to get to the places where normal water can't, and able to get you hydrated like you're supposed to. And the other property is the alkalinity in it. Doctors have been trying to get us to actually eat a more alkaline diet for some time now. They just didn't use the word alkaline. They just told us to eat your greens or eat your, eat your vegetables, And so I believe what happened was Mr. Oshiro, which is the CEO of ENAGIC, which is the name of the company that I'm an independent distributor for. I'm an independent distributor for the company ENAGIC,
Okay.
who makes these ionizers that produce this Kangin water. And so they found out a way to get doctors have been for some time noticed that your cells in your body, the healthy cells are alkaline cells,
Mm.
and the unhealthy cells that's in your bodies are acidic. And so alkalinity, of course, means that you would have better health if your cells are alkaline. Now, the foods that we eat mostly have acidity in it, and thus it'll create eventually through some time all these sicknesses and diseases and cancers and stuff. And so, if your body is more acidic, that means you're prone to more diseases and health issues. And of course, if your body is more on the alkaline side, that you would be more healthy because those are healthy cells in your body. And so that's why today you would notice that you get all of these. Everybody's talking about alkaline nowadays. We are just now getting very familiar with alkaline products. But like I said, the only difference between our water and now you can go into corner stores and buy bottles of water that they say alkaline water, but we've ran the tests and we've done the pH test, in which I'll give you a website where you can look at it yourself. And you know, before we finish it, and I'll give you it's a short video, about a 10-minute video where where we'll run a test and you'll be able to see where the actual properties and how they work and how they will benefit you and all the questions that you will have concerning this after the show.
Kind of like pushing toward the holistic. I don't want to take drugs. I just want to stay pure.
It is. It is. It is because there's nothing more natural to the body than water. Of course, you know, our body is made up of 3/4 of water. And there is nothing more natural to the body than water. We are water. I don't want to use pure. What it is they've created an ionizer. I'm talking a little bit about the ionizer, in which it is more towards the holistic life because it's an ionizer. It's one ionizer, and it produces 7 types of water. So it's not only about drinking water that this ionizer produces. It produces 7 types of water. One of them, of course, is drinking. And you can get a pH balance of 8.5, 9.0, and 9.5. Those are the drinking properties of the water. Then you have another water, which they call beauty water. It's buttons on there. It's very state of the art. You push a button and it talks to you. It's a talkie. It talks to you, so you can't mess up.
Wow.
Yeah. And so you push the button. It lets you know what you're getting. If you got the faucet too high, it'll tell you to reduce or whatever. You know, it's very state of the art. It's a smart machine. And it's a medical device. And so that is also the difference between these, because other people and companies have tried to duplicate this device as well. So there are other ionizers out there. And so I'll give you a quick story about why I believe that this is also one of the best ionizers out there. And I have it in the newspaper. I'll show you the newspaper. Bill Gates, there's many celebrities that also have this ionizer in their homes. Bill Gates, I'll just use in particular. There's a story, and the reason I'll use him because his story is documented in this article, and where he sent out 6 or 7 of his most prominent researchers to go out and seek out what is the best ionizer out there. to get the best quality water that he can have for himself and his family. And the story goes where they all seven of them came back after their research after some time and sat on his desk this water ionizer that I am an independent distributor of, and it's the SD501. That's the name of this medical device. It's called the SD501 from the company ENAGIC. All seven of them, when they took out of their bags, it was the SD501 from ENAGIC. So the story goes is that he went on to buy 16 of these units. Wow. to to have them wherever he is, because he would no longer drink any bottled water. Bottled water today, we don't know what we're getting in there.
I know. I said, what's to say that they're not just going to a faucet and filling up the bottles? We don't know. We don't know.
We don't know. We have the slightest idea of what we got in those bottles. We just don't know.
But we do.
And the sad part is we just can't trust any longer.
Right. That's been problematic for a minute now, that I don't believe anything that purported out there. I said, I'll drink seltzer first, and then, well, you don't know what the seltzer is either. So, because and we seem to be getting a lot sicker. Yes. I'm noticing more and more people have a lot more illnesses, and that's why when Diana was saying, you got to talk to Mr. Williams, you really have to talk to Mr. Williams, because you have a TV show and you could help people, and you keep saying you want to help people, so you have to step up, Hilda. So I'm stepping up. Here we go. We're going to share the information.
Yes.
And as she was saying something about on Wednesdays in New York, you can go someplace and they'll give you details about.
Yes, we have an office in New York where this company, it was first introduced to the United States from Japan in 2003. And the ENAGIC opened up their first office in Torrance, California. So we do have offices in several states. Astoria, New York, out there. On Wednesdays, we have an office in Orlando, Florida, Dallas, Texas, Chicago, Illinois. And so there are offices in those states.
What happens if someone in, say, Mississippi wants to try to, because you're saying, how would someone, because this is a national show, it's aired all over the country, so how would someone contact you? They would contact you to get the information, or they would go on, you're going to give me a website for them to go to do the research? And because we tell everybody, do the research, check it out, make sure it's because people talk a lot of stuff, and they do. Unfortunately, they do.
I agree.
And we're supposed to do the research, and then share the information. Once you find something it's a viable solution and it's going to help a lot of people, then you share that information.
Exactly, and that's something I left out of my story, in which I just gave you a brief part of my testimony. My wife and I did do the research. We researched it for months before we decided to invest in the device ourselves and bring it into our home. My wife is a bit more adamant at these things than I am, so she took her time doing all the research, and when she was good and satisfied about spending this money, that's when we went forth and did it. But to answer your question, we have distributors all over. What I would normally do is there is a call line that I can call in the morning where I can ask if there are any distributors that's in that area that I could hook them up with.
Okay.
And so there's a number I can get on as a distributor and say, is there anybody out in Mississippi that has this device that could share some water with such and such that lives in Mississippi, and then they'll hook up some kind of way. Because there,
That's
like I said, we also have offices in Germany, Australia, Kenya, in
wow.
Africa, in Mexico, and Canada. And so we're pretty widespread, not only in the United States, we got them all over. This has become pretty big, and which we just now getting hip to.
Suppose somebody in the audience wanted to be a distributor. Is that a difficult task to be a distributor, or is
It
it
is
the
not,
criteria is you have to be a customer first? You have to use the product before you would want to distribute it to someone else. You want to make sure
of
it's
course, of course, and that's also the difference between our company and others. What we do is share. Most distributors, I'll say most distributors will share the water, and that's what came from the top down. From Mr. Oshira, our CEO, he said that we ought to share the water. So you get a chance to experience the water, uh, allow the water to do what it's supposed to do for you. You get your testimony out of the water. Once you're good and satisfied, then you get back with the person who introduced you to the water, and then they can help you to fill out a simple application, send it in, fax it into the office where you could get a machine within 3 days.
wow.
And then there's a piece of paper that's in the application that says if you would like to be a distributor, you could also become a distributor. You fill that paper out. I would like to also be a distributor as well. And it's as simple as that.
Because it was if we're promoting health, we're
It is
promoting
promoting him.
wellness, well-being, and we
It
have
is.
we have quite a few people who are also looking for ways to make a living. So
Oh yes,
it would be a win-win, I
it
think.
is a win-win. It is a win-win. So it's not only a way to your physical health, but it is for your financial health as well. And so there is a way to also make money. And so there's also with each. It's not a multi-level marketing business. In fact, it doesn't require. Some people they're afraid of sales or whatever. This is not about sales. The water will sell itself. You don't have to be a salesman to make money out of this thing. And so a lot of people, after we get a machine, they say, listen, I'm not sales. I'm not I'm not the kind of person that can approach people and sell them stuff. I said, but it's not about that. In fact, you don't have to be a distributor at all. You could just invest in a machine and drink the best water on the planet, you and your family, for the rest of your life, because the company doesn't require you to do anything. It doesn't. There are no requirements to you to make a sale in this business.
Wonderful.
And so, yeah, there are no requirements, no strings attached. You could just invest in this device and drink this water, you and your family. If you don't feel like introducing it to anybody, but that's not who we are. And most people who are in the ENAGIC business, who are distributors, they are like who my wife and I are. We want to help other people. And so we introduced this water. We give health and wellness seminars once a week here in the city that we live in. And there also we have other distributors as well who do it once a month at the nearest hotel here at the Hampton Inn Hotel. We give just like they do it at the Astoria office every Wednesday for the New Yorkers to go there. They can go there every Wednesday, and I can introduce you to a young lady who gives a class, and she'll educate you on everything you need to know about it before you begin to invest. But my wife and I are the type of people. It's a part of our health and wellness ministry. We are believers, and so we do have a ministry on the road to Damascus Ministries. And so this water is our health and wellness ministry. This
Wow.
is our health and wellness ministry, water. And so
Wow.
this is a part of our ministry, and we go out and we introduce the water to help somebody. And so most people, they want to help. They want to introduce the water to you. They know people. Most of us know people who are suffering from some kind of sickness or disease. The health, high blood pressure is running rampant in the black community.
Exactly.
Diabetes. Somebody knows somebody with diabetes,
Mm-hmm.
with these pharmaceutical medications today. I believe I believe for every pill there's an eel, and for every pill there's another eel.
Yes. Yes, because if you just read the side effects, I mean, I mean,
Yeah,
read the side effects and you go, whoa, I mean, even with like Chantix, my doctor prescribed Chantix for me to stop smoking when I stopped smoking, and when I read the side effects, I just sat it at the head of my bed on the floor.
yeah,
I never opened the bottles or anything. I just said, well, no, I don't think I really want to do all of that. I'll just stop.
yeah.
And because it was more, it seemed like it was more dangerous. Why don't I just continue smoking then? Eh, That's what it came down to. All the
Right.
the list was so long that it was
Yeah,
scary. And I'm
yeah.
looking at, even when you see the commercials for people who have diabetes on TV, and don't take it if you're going to do this and it's going to do this and it's going to do this, and you're saying
Yeah.
drink some water. Here,
I'm saying,
have some
I'm
pure
saying drink.
water.
I'm saying drink water.
Have
This is the most natural thing that you could put back in your body is water. It's just water. Most distributors will give you a trial of the water. You take it, you take the trial, and then most of the times, most people are okay, make up their mind. After doing your research, whether to invest in this device. We don't put it out there as it's some miracle water or anything like that. Uh, the water helps the body to do
what it's
what
supposed to
it
do.
was created to do in the first place. God, our Creator, Father God, created our bodies to heal itself. That's why if you get a cut without doing anything, it'll begin to mend on its own
Hmm.
because the body has properties to heal itself. So this water helps the body to do what it was originally created to do to begin with. It's called Kangin water. And the word Kangin in Japanese means return to origin.
Okay.
And so what the water does is help your body and your organs to return to its origin. That's why many doctors uh, also have this device in their offices now. And in fact, in Japan, they don't. I believe they banned. In fact, they are. But let me put this out there: they're number one in health and longevity.
Hmm.
Their country is number one. The United States are somewhere around number 38.
Wow. And we're the great United States.
The great best country in the universe.
Yes.
But we're number 38 when it comes to health and longevity. Somewhere around there. Look it up. But Japan, number one. They live the longest. They stay long. And it's not big thing for someone to reach their hundreds
Mm.
in Japan. In fact, it's quite normal for you to reach 90, 100 years old in Japan.
Mm.
Here, we're dying off sadly in our 40s and 50s from all type of cancers and such. And it has something to do with this water. In fact, what I was going to say is that in Japan, they give you water therapy. You go to their hospitals over there, most of their hospitals and most of the doctors, I'll say a great deal of the doctors,
Mm.
you can do this research yourself. They give you water therapy. I don't care what your ailment is. You come in there with from cancer to eczema of the skin. Uh, you're going to get treated with this medical device that I'm talking to you
With the
about
water.
right now. Okay, and so one of these waters that this machine produces will treat whatever you're dealing with,
Okay,
and
so
it's water.
when you say one of these waters, it's like it's more than one kind of water. It's water for drinking, water for cooking, water for bathing, water for.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. And so you're benefiting from all of these things. In fact, there's a water which has a pH balance of just say if I push the button on there, 11.5, if I push that button, this water will that the water is going to produce is water that I clean my fruits and vegetables with,
Oh,
because most of our fruits and vegetables are sprayed down with, of course, insecticides, pesticides, herbicides, and all these other sides, and that don't belong on our fruits and vegetables. This water that the device produces will help to extract the insecticides, pesticides, herbicides from the fruit and vegetables and meats. Uh, and so this is something that tap water can't do. Uh, tap water, of course, most of us don't drink tap water, but here we are. And we think tap water is so nasty we don't drink it, but yet you're going to rinse your foods and your fruits and vegetables off with
and
it.
you're gonna cook with it also.
You're gonna cook with it too. You cook your spaghettis or whatever. You use this water that you won't drink, but you put it in. You use it for your foods.
Mm-hmm.
This is not. This I don't understand the thinking. You know when you know better, you begin to do better. But we don't think about these things while we're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
We won't drink it, but we'll use it to put in our foods, and we consume it anyway. Uh,
Exactly. I think people think because it's boiled when you're cooking with it, so that purifies it. Maybe.
well,
Maybe. Maybe.
yeah,
I'm saying
I
maybe
don't.
they think that, not maybe that it's happening. Maybe that's the thought. But
That's what we.
what I
That's
wanted
what
to
we
ask you
thought.
was, a lot of people in New York live in apartments. They don't.
I want to drink some of this water. Excuse me, while
Okay.
you talk.
Well, you didn't send any to me. No, let me stop. um,
A little
hand me
part.
some. No. Um,
I will. I'll get you some.
we don't. We live in apartments. Can we hook up the device to an apartment water system, or do you have to have
Yes.
permission from the landlord, or because
No, that's a great question. No, no. It's a very, very simple hookup. You don't need a plumber or permission from the landlord or anything. It's as small as a very small microwave oven. It's the size of a small microwave oven. It sits on your counter. What you would do is unscrew the lip of the faucet,
mm-hmm.
and then there's an attachment that you hook to the lip of your faucet. That's it. You don't have to go under your sink and under the.
Wow.
You don't have to take or loose any pipes. It's very simple hookup. It really is, and it comes with a CD to instruct you on what to do and how to do it. And most of the time, when you get a device, the person who introduced you to it will be more than happy to come and help you install it or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I want to thank you for sharing that. We're looking for ways, because this program is, we're taking a different approach to service in the world. So
Yes, ma'am.
we say one person at a time, and I have a larger audience now. This is our second season, so we're hoping to just get the word out, and if we can get everybody healthy,
Yeah.
then I'll have more viewers, right?
Exactly, exactly. That's what it's all about. Being healthy, and what I want to do is I'll get a chance to speak with your
Diana.
sister. Yeah, that you're Diana. I'm so glad. I met her. She is a beautiful, beautiful spirit. We have your sister Diana. Uh, we became great friends, and so she's great friends with my wife, and I'm so glad I met her. She's introduced me to even more people who are health conscious, and so we all have gotten together and just to as they say, each one teach one to become
That's
more
what we're trying.
healthier. And so that's what we're doing, man. And she's a very health conscious individual, being in the field that she works in.
Yes.
You know, and so what she told me about you, I have people in your area that which I'll, if you'd like to have a sample of the water. And I can also leave you with information to, if I can, uh, uh, take you to www.
Just give me a second.
Okay.
www.
Dot Kangin Demo.
K.
Dot KANGEN. That's the word Kangin. Kangin Demo. DEMO.
Or
One word.
okay.
Yeah, one word. KanginDemo.com. That's a short video of one of our distributors explaining to you all the different properties. You're going to want to look at it. It's going to blow your mind when you see what this water does and can do, as opposed to other bottled waters that we normally go out and buy. They'll run the test on this video, and you'll be able to make a judgment from there. But to get for people who want to contact me, it's healthsuccess.net. Healthsuccess.net / TD Williams.
Got it.
And so they could look that up. You can go there. And if you're interested in knowing more about the water, wanting to try the water, having access to it, I can always introduce. And if I can't get it to, there's some distributor where you live that I can get in contact with you to get you this water, and you can too change your water and change your life.
Change my water and change my life. Well, we're going to try it. I'm going to try it.
Okay, thank you so much.
I have no problem trying things. And if I don't like it, I'm going to call you back and tell you I didn't like it. And if I love it, I'm going to call you back and tell you I loved it.
Thank you. I wish you would. Check that video out, Miss Hilda. You got to check it out.
Will do.
That KanginDemo.com is going to blow your mind. And I'd ask you to, after looking at the video and doing your research, call me back and let me know what you think.
Will do. Thank you so much, though. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. You're not going to tie up the rest of your afternoon. You're a free man.
Yeah, M-Wham got a message for you. Check it out. How many of us offended by the boxers or the sagging pants in our community? I got a song for you. Check it out. Here we go. Come on.
Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up.
Yeah.
It's the new style.
Come on, collect, talk to me.
Say, Mr. Harris, sagging jeans is an epidemic.
That's right.
One that I've never been a fan of. And I can't stand how these young men, they sagging, they dragging. Come on, pull your pants up. And I know us girls, we in the wrong for not putting these fellas on.
You got the power.
But I'm offended by boxers. And I think that we all should be.
Come on, help me.
Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up.
Why?
It's the new style.
Come on.
Pull your pants up, pull your pants up.
Yeah.
Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. It'll make your mama proud.
Here we go.
We living in a world affected by an epidemic. Sagging jeans and sweatpants is how men living. Need to set the example to make the future right. So hey, our message when we hit you with the chair, right?
Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. Pull your pants up.
It's kinda catchy.
Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. It's the new style. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. Pull your pants up, pull your pants up. It'll make your mama proud.
I know you heard your belt say.
Take it away.
I had an epiphany this week. I was fortunate enough when I went to Wingate High School to be part of the College Bound program. I wonder if it still exists. But they really insisted that the school, the Department of Ed, it was the Board of Ed then, was going to do anything and everything that they could to at least give us I think they called us educationally disadvantaged inner city youth, an opportunity to prepare for college, even if we weren't going, but to prepare for college in a way that was unprecedented at the time. So we had double periods of English, and for some reason, our freshman year, we were the victims. I shouldn't say the victims. There was a school strike. So instead of having double periods of English, we had triple periods of English. We had double periods of math instead of single periods of math. But it was a program that not only the double periods of English and the double periods of math and all, but the support systems that were in place is kind of sort of what I'm hearing is not happening now. We had a guidance counselor who followed us from 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, Miss Kafkowitz, Faye Kafkowitz. And if you had a problem, all you had to do was contact Miss Kafkowitz, and she tried her best. Do they still have guidance counselors in the schools now? If not, they are sorely lacking. Let me just tell you a story. I've been discussing how our family was poor because we couldn't even afford the OOR. And I'm not saying that to be at a pity party because, sometimes being without, you can use that to your advantage. So let me tell you, I'm going to tell you, because I think that children, youth, should understand that just because you don't have doesn't mean that you have to do without. Okay, so I tell my friends, I was a high school drop-in because in the wintertime, I did start out with the coat, but I put it in the cleaners and it cost $2.50 to get out, and we didn't have the money. And at that time, if you didn't get your belongings out of the cleaners in 30 days, they sold it. So my coat was no longer available to me. So I had a plastic hoodie, orange, not orange, orange plastic hoodie. Now, if my high school had been close, it wouldn't have been so problematic. But I had to take 3 buses and still walk 2.5 blocks. And it was kind of cold out in the wintertime. I took the 65 bus. If you not believe me, I was in Brooklyn, took the 65 bus, transferred to the 46, and if I had another 15 cents, then I could catch the 12 bus, which would put me 2 blocks from the school, 2.5 blocks from the school. If I didn't have the extra 15 cents, then I had to walk from Utica Avenue to Kingston Avenue. It was kind of problematic. Okay, so I would go on the days that the teachers were offering the test. We had to take a test. I studied at home, but when you had to take a test, you had to take a test. So I was getting 95s and 100s on the test because I was really studying. I was very serious. I'm going to college. I'm in a college-bound program, but it's really, really, really cold outside. I can't handle the cold. Okay, so I got the report card the first marking period, and I went ballistic. They were giving me 65s despite the fact that I was getting 95s on the test, 100s on the test. And I went to my biology teacher, and I said, what? And she said, no, you weren't here. Class participation counts. And I went to my world history teacher, same thing. So click, click, light bulb went off in my head. I went, because you're supposed to tell somebody. If there's a problem, you're supposed to tell somebody. So I went to Miss Kafkowitz, and I said, Miss Kafkowitz, look at my report card. And she said, oh, Hilda, you have to really try hard. And I said, I'm getting 9, and I had my test with me. I'm getting 95s on all my tests, and they giving me 65s because I'm not here. And she says, well, you really have to be here to participate in class, Hilda. And I said, Miss Kafkowitz, do you know what the temperature is outside? And that day it happened to be 4 degrees. So she said, yes, it's 4 degrees, Hilda. And I said, you see this plastic hoodie that I have on, blanket jacket? It was orange. This is what I wore today. Remember, I take 3 buses to get here, or I had to walk from Utica Avenue. Actually, I had to walk from Utica Avenue that morning. And she said, oh, so where's your coat? So I told her what happened with the cleaners, and she said, so what can we do to get your mom to buy you another coat? So I said, because we won public assistance. I said, tell welfare to give us some money so she can get me a coat. It's not like she tried to not give me the coat. She just didn't have the money to do it. So she said, well, what can we do to maybe get other family members or friends to support you, because I know that you seem to be determined to graduate and do what you have to do so that you can go to college. And she said, you know what? I think you're just the type of student that could be a candidate for the presidential classroom for young Americans. And I was like, I never heard of it. Nobody has ever heard of it. What are we going to do with it? And she said, it's too late for this year, but next year, I would like for you to be a participant. So can you contact your family members and ask them if they could at least get you a week's worth of clothes? Because remember, I only had one outfit. A week's worth of clothes, because you'll be staying in Washington, D.C., and you'll be learning about the government and meeting people from all over the country who have similar likes to you, or maybe not, but learn how the government is supposed to work and how people from all over the country interpret that. And I thought, wow, this is so great. This is so great. So I ran, I told my mother, I said, they're going to let me go to Washington, and all I need to do is get a week's worth of clothes, and I know that you people think I'm crazy, but I said, and I want a leather coat. I'm not going to say the name brand, but I wanted a leather coat. And my mother's looking at me like, you don't even have a cloth coat. What are you talking about? You want a leather coat? And I was trying to be really, really sensible, and that I lost my coat because I couldn't get it out the cleaners. And my mind said, if I get a leather coat with the lining inside, in the winter it has lining in. In the fall, I can take the lining out. I can take the lining out in the spring, and I'll have a coat, because if it gets dirty, I can just take a cloth or something and wipe it off. So I say all that to say, sometimes being poor works in your favor. So don't beat up on yourself. It's not a circumstance that anybody chooses to be in, but we make the best of what we can do when we can do it. Okay. After College Bound, I applied to, they helped us too. I didn't finish talking about College Bound. They not only helped us with the academics, but they helped us with the culture. So we were taken to plays and to the opera and all the cultural things around the city so that we could come out of our neighborhoods. And I'm stressing this because I think that our students now tend to not realize that life is bigger than their neighborhood. New York is a huge place that offers so many things. And we didn't only go just to New York, because I remember we went to Greenwich, Connecticut to see Hamlet. We went to Manhattan to see Romeo and Juliet. We traveled around the city, and I'm sure that it wasn't that expensive, but it was ever so enlightening for us. And from there, I went to Fordham University. The HEOP program, the Higher Education Opportunity Program. I did not realize how special that program was until very recently. And I was thinking, College Bound, HEOP, and nobody ever sent us any kind of follow-up to get information to see, did we succeed? Did we complete? Did we do anything? So I don't know if the programs are still in existence, but I'm going to send a copy of this to the State Education Department so that they can know I graduated. I graduated from Fordham University. I graduated from Wingate High School. I even went to Fordham Graduate School of Education and got my master's as well. So despite the fact that it was thought that we were educationally disadvantaged, with the supports in place, and they were put in place. We had counselors, we had academic counselors. They took care of our books. They helped us with our tuition. If we needed a tutor, they provided that tutor. I know because I was one of the tutors. But that's the kind of support system that were in place at that time, and that was 30-something years ago, more than 30-something years ago. Okay, in the 70s, in the 60s and the 70s. And now I'm hearing that the students don't have, we had orchestra, I was in the orchestra, I participated in school plays, and I don't hear any of that going on now. All I hear now are that the students are studying to take some tests to prove that they were taught something. And you know, we talk about education a lot on this show. We want our students to be able to apply what they have learned to real life, not spit it out on the test, because what is the test going to get them? But if they can, like when I talk about telling time and the fractions and the decimals and money with the decimals and the fractions, that's real life. And the students have said to me, wow, if they had told it to me like that, then I would have been more apt to remember what was going on. Oh, I forgot to say. We are broadcast all over the world on www.bronxnet.org, live streamed on Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. And we're also on YouTube and Facebook. I have had such a great response from, I can actually say, around the world now, that I sometimes seem so overwhelmed. And I think that people who matter must be listening, because we've had people on this show who spoke about children getting arrested for minor incidents or being brutalized for minor incidents and spending so many years of their lives, like if they're 18 and they spent 10 years or 15 years or 20 years in jail and then coming out. And I think that maybe, possibly, Governor Cuomo is hearing us, because he has a new initiative out that's going to raise the age of conviction so that our little babies, and that's the poem that I wrote called Tot Cops, our babies are not arrested for minor incidents and ruining their lives. Because remember, they talk about brain matter and children, how you think and how they don't think like adults, or how are you treating them like adults. And we have to teach more about the consequences of ill acts, because our kids seem to not realize that there are consequences. 'Cause I know that everybody in the penitentiaries are not innocent. Come on, some people should be there. But some of our young people, it's sickening, because that's a whole wasted generation. So I say, I applaud the governor. Thank you for hearing and trying to do something. And I will be sending out information, and I will include it in the end of these credits as well, so that you too can get involved and help the governor to make it so that if someone should be going to prison, they shouldn't be going for minor incidents, and they shouldn't be spending the bulk of their childhood in jail for those kinds of offenses that just, it doesn't make any sense. I talk about a lot of the things that I did because I think that they are noteworthy, in that just because you don't have money doesn't mean you can't get what you need. I know I talked about when I was 11, and I really wanted to be a photographer, but I wanted art lessons. And my family says, what is with this woman? This child is, where is she going? So, and I said, but I really want art lessons. So what I did was, there was an artist, Marilyn Marks. She lived on the first floor of my grandmother's building. And I went to her and I said, she needed a model and I needed art lessons. So we struck up a deal. I would model for her and she would teach me art. Now, the good thing about this is I seem to always get, and I can smile about this, what I want. Really, really, really. I have not really been, I mean, it never came all the time when I wanted it to come, but it did come. And I found out that an artist, I was not. I mean, I learned colors, but I still can't draw a straight line with a ruler. So I was like, I was a good model, though. I could sit for hours and never move, which is a good thing for an artist. But photography was what I wanted to do, and I got to do that as well. I even got to, go in the darkroom and learn how to develop my own stuff. We have to convince our young people to learn how to reach out. If there's no real job, I cleaned hallways, I mopped floors, I dragged out garbage cans, I cooked, I baked, I crocheted. We do what we have to do. But our children have to realize that there are options that we do have. We don't have to sit back and, oh, boo-hoo, I don't have. What is it that you want, and what are you willing to do to get it? I wanted to finish college. I was homeless. But I crocheted scarves, hats, pants. No, I didn't do pants. I did skirts and vests. Just because people would pay, and it wasn't a lot of money, but it was enough to get me through the day. Okay. People want to run out and get a pen, but they miss some of the points because we were talking and we get into conversations and people don't notice that the time has gone by. Somebody texted me and said, it was really informative, but by the time I got my pen, it was over. Wow, that went fast. Well, I'm kind of hoping that's what it really does. It goes pretty fast, but you get a pen and take away some information with you because I know a whole lot of stuff. No, I have a lot of information, a wealth of information. And I have no difficulty sharing my knowledge with my people. And anyone that's watching my show is my people. I want to thank you for choosing In My Shoes. And I hope to see you next week.